Look! Look, the dynamic duo!
Hey guys, welcome to the Dynamic Duo. I'm Franz.
I'm Kevin. Welcome back to the Batcave and Avengers Tower, everybody. We're glad you're here.
Hey Kevin, what do you want to talk about right now?
Well, one of the quick things that I wanted to mention to you that was semi-released to the public or at the end of last weekend leading into now is that the Russo brothers may be in fact returning to Marvel to direct Secret Wars.
Oh, speaking of which, forgive me for interrupting you. But last time we tried to talk about the Scarlett Johansson thing, and we kept getting interrupted. It was funny, guys, because literally we were recording the show, and every time, everything was smooth. And every time we started to talk about Scarlett Johansson, the signal got crossed and we couldn't continue. So we were like doing all kinds of conspiracy theories.
But the KGB did not want us talking about the widow.
The KGB didn't want us. So, but there have been developments since, not to change your subject, Kevin, but there have been developments since. And apparently, and I have to look a little bit further into this, but apparently the Russo brothers are no longer working with Disney, and they're no longer working with Disney over the Black Widow issue.
Oh.
Yeah, that's been reported. The theory is they didn't like the way Disney treated Scarlett Johansson. And secondly, they are now they're saying that they're in a position of, wait a second, if you could do that to her, what will you do to us, type of thing. And so we don't trust and we don't want to do contracts. And so I'm sure it's a developing story, and I'm sure this is not the end of it, but certainly this is what I've read.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard about this and what you think about it.
The last thing that I did hear, which was early Saturday afternoon, and ladies and gentlemen, today is Tuesday. So it's been a couple of days, but early Saturday afternoon, it had been said through a couple of different sources, and most of them were coming directly out of Hollywood. And as Franz said earlier, I'm going to have to double check this a little bit deeper myself, is that Marvel was in the process of fast tracking the next Avengers movie, and that had been reported that the Russo brothers didn't want to do Avengers 5, but they were very interested in the idea behind Secret Wars. That's why what you just said caught me off guard a little bit, because this had been said on Saturday.
Facts. But tell me what you were telling me about Scarlett Johansson and Disney and what you had learned.
Here's the scoop or the other shoe, as it were, if I can put it that way, concerning Miss Johansson. Sources at Disney have let me know that basically Scarlett, even though some of what she's spoken about is kind of fudging the truth a little bit. And this extends from the fact that when Black Widow was put together as a film, and anybody that was paying attention to the credits will realize this, Scarlett was the executive producer of Black Widow herself. And within the space of what movie making, streaming, going to cable, going to broadcast TV, or anything else that you want to expand upon, the thing that people need to understand business-wise is that before any of this other stuff can be done, the deal is made in the executive boardroom before, long before anything is finished. And in the age of streaming now, whether it's from Disney or Paramount Plus or wherever it happens to be, HBO Max, it doesn't matter. The circumstances are the same. Whatever negotiated deal has to be done to include all these other services is already in the works.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, what happens is if you're a big enough star, you get a taste of the gate, as they say, for both your salary and whatever other services the movie or television show might be connected to, and you get a cut of whatever merchandise. If you have the proper entertainment lawyer, or you're smart enough when you walk into the room to say, okay, before we move any further, this is what I want in the deal. And in Miss Johansson's case, and I love her as an actress, I think she's incredibly talented. But getting back to what was originally relayed back to me from Disney is that when Black Widow was done, the decision to put it on streaming and what have you had already been decided. So a lot of her saying, oh, I didn't know that they were going to do this, and I had no idea this was going to turn out this way, that's not true. Also, the big business of I haven't been compensated for the streaming service is also not true. Because what ended up happening is that if Scarlett wasn't happy with whatever was going on, the movie would have never been able to stream from day one on Disney Plus. Legally, contractually, she would have been able to shut it down. It doesn't matter that it was the big mouse on the hill. She would have been able to say, with me being executive producer, this is my property, you can't have it. And basically, how this got out of hand is that because Black Widow was so anticipated by the world, Disney ended up making close to $53 million within the first week of the movie being released. And when the money jumped up that much, she decided that whatever compensation, that it wasn't enough for her. She wanted more, because they had already inked within her contract her actress salary, the streaming salary, and everything else that goes along with it, or the streaming compensation. But when they hit $53 million in a couple of days, she decided, okay, doggone it, this movie is a serious hit. I want more money. And Disney, kind of in defense of themselves, said, wait a minute, you've already been paid. What are you talking about? You want more money.
But what more money could she have if she's getting paid from upfront, if she's getting paid from the back end box office, and if she's getting paid from streaming? What more money could she want? You know what I mean?
Amigo, let me use one title. Greed. That's all it comes down to.
But there's greed, and then there's self-destruction. Mm-hmm. This would be a stupid mistake on her part. And there are already reports that she's being blacklisted in Hollywood, and there are already reports that she can't. So for her to have gotten that deal, front end, back end, both streaming and box office, plus upfront money, for her to then turn around and sue would be such a kind of an egregious, like a ridiculous thing. If I'm a studio, I don't care if I'm big budget or small budget, I'm just choosing somebody else, because to me, that's just really horrible. So that's why we have to kind of be careful in terms of, like, for me, it just doesn't make any sense to me because these people don't make decisions just on their own. She has a team of lawyers and accountants and agents and representatives, that are there saying, "Hey, Scarlett, what are we gonna do?" But so it would be such a stupid decision for me that it's hard to believe that it's just that blatant, because if you're greedy, then you should do the thing that's going to make you the most money. You know what I mean? Not the thing that's going to stop you from making money, unless the lawsuit is for $1 billion, which it can't be. So,
The
and if I may, the report is that the Russo brothers are concerned, and maybe this is just, it's, by the way, it's reported by the Wall Street Journal, so reputable, whatever. But their concern is over the whole streaming situation. They want straight box office, but I don't get that people, like, right now, if I'm a director or an actor, I don't know that I want just box office release because we're not quite there yet. You know what I mean? And so I don't know.
I couldn't agree with you more. I know people, want to be able to say that they got people in the seats in the theaters. I'm aware of that. That's what the industry is all about. But at the same time, and you couldn't have said it in a more practical way, we're not back to day one yet.
We're not.
And without getting political, in certain ways, I'm not even sure if we'll ever get back to what we had.
That's right.
In a manner of speaking. And again, I'm not trying to get political, but because of what is going on and what may lay ahead, a lot of what we experienced, and not just in the United States, but worldwide, it's already changed. And it's changing hour after hour and day after day. And we may not ever get back to what we had. So the idea of I have a project and the project has to be in theaters, I'm not accepting anything else. This is unacceptable to me. A lot of this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, is ego run amok. Okay? And that's exactly what it is. You've had other films that have done quite well being on multiple services for multiple reasons. Case in point, there are two things that I want to say in regard to the Black Widow Scarlett Johansson situation. One, first and foremost, the movie has made a ton of money. It still has the video release to go. That's supposed to be, if I remember correctly, either at the very end of October, right around Halloween, or at the very beginning of November, but it's on the way. So there's going to be money made from that, and Disney can't keep Scarlett from making money that way, nor anyone else that was a part of the project. And one other thing that I want to mention concerning this whole circumstance. People have asked the question, why haven't Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and the other members of the Avengers cast and Marvel movie cast, why haven't they spoke up? Think about what Franz and I were just saying to you, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why they haven't spoke up is because, again, as I said earlier, as Franz said earlier, nothing like this can ever be put on television, cable, or anything else until a final decision is reached. And basically, Mr. Downey, Mr. Hemsworth, and all concerned do not want to get involved with this because for whatever they have done for Marvel or may even do later, they've already gotten their money and they're not getting involved in a tug of war with Scarlett Johansson because she's got her hand stuck out yet again. So before you jump up and down about how terrible Disney is and how bad they are, even though Disney does have its problems, consider the fact that this is about one thing and one thing only, and that's additional money that maybe she shouldn't be owed.
I mean, again, brilliantly said, as always, and I like you, I couldn't agree more. You know, maybe the reason why, you know, the Robert Downey Jr.'s haven't gotten in is because they're smart enough to realize Disney is a juggernaut, and even if I'm not going to do Iron Man again, there's a million movies that I can be in Disney with in the future. You know, maybe even 10 years from now, I could work with Disney. So why should I, you know, why should I burn that bridge, essentially?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right also with respect to the box office never returning. We forget that the cinemas industry was already hurting prior to COVID. You know, it was already struggling prior to COVID, and cinemas were trying to figure out all kinds of ways to get people to come in. I mean, there are literally movie theaters with beds and private rooms and, you know, restaurants. You could, I mean, every gimmick you could imagine. The latest thing that I heard was, and this is, my daughter went to the movies recently, and, you know, they have the vibrating seats now. And so the movie industry was already kind of struggling to bring people into the seats. And frankly, the only thing keeping it alive was these over-the-top superhero action movies that would draw, you know, $100 million within the first 3 days. And what's interesting is that the standards have been reset for right now. So Shang-Chi is very successful. It's doing very, very well. But according to today's time, you know what I mean? The second weekend it made $35 million. And they're saying, oh, that's a great thing. That's a good thing. It was the first one to cross $100 million, the fastest to get there, even before, you know, faster than Black Widow domestically. Again, they're saying, oh, that's a great thing. Dude, movies used to make $100 million in the first couple of days. You know what I mean? So the standards have been reset, and actors, directors, and producers and all that stuff need to understand that, and need to not be so harsh and brutal, and kind of figure it out together instead of suing each other. Again, you know, you've reported the details and I accept it fully. You know, I don't know what the other side argument is. To me, if what you're saying is accurate, if it's true, I agree 1,000%. It's the dumbest thing she could have done. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Guys, hope you like this conversation. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. You know, that helps us out, and we need that help. We've got 35 subscribers. 40. I'm 35? I'm sorry. How many subscribers do we have?
The last time I looked, partner, it was 38 or 39.
Sorry, I apologize. We have
okay,
30.
no, I'm like, where did 4 or 5 of them?
we'll take all the subscribers. we don't
like, did we say something already that made people leave?
we can't afford to lose any subscribers, but so like and subscribe, get us to, you know what, let's have goals, right? Here's a goal, guys. If you enjoy the show, if you want to support us, help us get to, let's say, 50 subscribers. What do you think, Evan?
The number works for me.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye now.